Okay, so good day, everyone. So today we're going to have a discussion about wait, yeah, about finding and review of related literature and studies. Engaging in the discovery and evaluation of relevant literature and studies is a crucial component of academic research in diverse fields. These methods entails researching academic literature, including journal articles, books, theses, and conference papers that pertain to the specific issue. So the objective is to acquire a thorough awareness of the present knowledge domain, pinpoint deficiencies in ongoing research, and position one's own work within the wider field context. And to give us more details about the topic, let us all welcome our first presenter this afternoon. Go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Rinig po ba ako? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
So, Chapter 5, Finding and Review of Related Literature. So, to create new knowledge and understanding and to spread it so that it is available to everyone, the primary motivation for conducting a research. It is obviously a waste of time to spend months developing knowledge that is already publicly available. Therefore, knowing the current state of knowledge in your chosen field is crucial when organizing a research project. So, in this chapter, upon completion of the chapter, the student demonstrate understanding of loads of information, evaluating resources, primary and secondary data, doing a literature review. In loads of information, medical information expansion characterizes our area. There is never a big reason to say that um, you don't have enough information on any subject. Excuse me. Where to look for pertinent, high quality information is the issue. Now, quick search of internet can show how much garbage there is on almost any topic. Even going to a great bookstore or the library might be also uncomfortable. So here are list of places you can search. First is libraries. So everyone naman is familiar about libraries. Maybe it is in universities, schools. Um, Maybe this will be your first choice. Here you can find information about sources. Next is oh, sorry. Being adept at making searches will save you lots of time and frustration, as well as ensuring that you get hold of all the latest information you need. Here are some facilities that you should investigate. First is your library catalog. So most library meron ng mga electronic catalog. Kadalasan na-access na lang to. Merong mga na-avail online. Meron naman mismo sa mismo library. Next is journals and newspapers. So these are often cataloged and stored separately. The books and may be available online. Next is electronic databases. Um, these, these are the computer-based list of publications on Citynode or on the university internet or internet. Excuse me. Evaluating web sources. Now, since anyone can create a page on internet, how we can determine whether the information we found is reliable. Here are some distinct assessment or uh, sorry. Here are seven distinct assessments you can use to determine how well or how good the content is written. First is it accurate? Does it says what sources the data are based on, or can compare to the data with other sources? Next is what authority is it based on? Seek to learn who wrote the pages, if they are published by a reliable organization or by acknowledged specialists. Verify whether they include they include bibliography of other books, reports, or articles, whether they cite other publications. You should also find out who wrote the pages and whether the respectable organization or acknowledged experts wrote them. Verify whether they include a bibliography of other books, reports, or articles, whether they cite other publications. To get, to get the details, you might have to locate the homepage. Next, is it bias? Utilizing the internet to promote their thoughts and goods and provide information in unbiased manner. Pressure groups and commercial organizations are common. Is there anything that suggests the author has personal stake in its outcome? Learn about also the writers. For instance, is the material about like for instance, is material about animal testing source from an independent research facility or a cosmetic company or any anti-vivisection league. Next, how detailed is the information? Does the material have too much specificity and difficult to understand, or is it too generic to be much of use? Examine whether the evidence is supported by pertinent data and whether it is incomplete, missing key points related to the public. Next, next, it is out of date or it is out of date. Pages remain online until they are taken down. Certain things are blatantly outdated and clearly forgotten. Look for a date or updates date. Keep in mind that not every update will update every piece of content. And also verify if the provided dates are operational. Next is have you cross-checked? Compare the excuse me, information contained here with the government statistics, books, articles, and other websites. Does the evidence support or refute this? Can we see why? If the latter. And last, have you tried pre-evaluated subject gateways? Since the material on this website has been reviewed by authorities, in pertinent fields, it can be trusted to be one of the highest possible standards. So there are relative importance depending on the nature of your subject. First is research theory and philosophy. To determine the intellectual context of research pertaining to your subject, research theory and philosophy are necessary. Also, history of developments in your subject. This is to determine the context of the current idea. Next is latest research and development in your subject. This is to explain the controversies surrounding topics under investigation. It is also to identify knowledge gaps and provide information on the most recent ideas and practices. And lastly is through research method. Should examine actual practical methods that have been employed, especially if they could applicable to your project. So based on the books, here are some useful points for your review. First is compile an overview of the literature to illustrate the interplay of ideas and major steps in the development of your subject. Next is introduce important issues if your research problem, your analysis of literature. Other is explain general theoretical background to help the reader understand the attitude behind the reviewed literature and your own philosophical stance. Excuse me. Next, make links across discipline boundaries when doing an interdisciplinary review, rather than keeping each separate and examining term. Include some account of how the previous research was done so that you have a precedent for your own approach for your own approach to the methodology. Now, critically appraisal requires a lot of in-depth and is a skill that has to be learned and practiced, which can be initially quite time consuming. So here are the main steps. First is thoroughly read excuse me, the original research article and decide if it is relevant to your study. Next is reveal the assumptions upon which the writings or arguments based. Um, Here, sometimes these are quite clearly stated that the beginning of the text sometimes there are obscured or not mentioned. Some knowledge of the different theoretical position is required in order to be able to detect them and how they to, to detect them and know what they imply. Next is trace the logic of the argument to ascertain whether the steps in the argument lead the evidence to the conclusion. So you can do this by first detecting the conclusion. For example, in order to pinpoint the conclusion, the main conclusion excuse me, should normally appear towards the end of work, so there may be intermediate and conclusions studied throughout. Thus, compare it with other work, as there are no absolute values to which you can appeal in order to make assessment and no clear rules about what is right and wrong. Make comparisons between texts in order to highlight the different approaches, levels of thoroughness, contradictions, strength of arguments, implication, theoretical stances, that accepted values and types of the conclusion. Last is presenting your analysis. A review of literature should provide an introduction to the latest concepts and advances in thinking chosen subject, citing relevant papers and publication and authors to underpin the description. However, through critical appraisal, excuse me, of the paper investigated will require a more systematic approach. So it is a good idea to standardize the form of your appraisal using standard headings such as study, design and assumption, methods of data collection, analytic, analytical methods, main findings, conclusions, and the study strengths and limitations. Using the list of headings, you can produce a table with the summaries of the result of your critical appraisal of each of the studies so that you can scan across the across the set of papers. This will then provide a clear, simple framework for making comparative assessment of the papers.
Okay. Researchers usually begin this procedure, no, by clearly stating their study issue or area of interest or a research gap na sinasabi natin. With a defined objective, they begin a methodical exploration of academic databases, libraries, and other repositories by utilizing keywords and precise search, no, terms related to their topic, no. So the goal is to collect a diverse array of sources that cover various viewpoints, approaches and results within the study field. After identifying relevant literature and studies, no, researchers study and analyze them thoroughly, no, and this requires assessing the credibility, validity and significance of its sources, no, and combining important results and arguments. Researchers can use this technique to pinpoint recurring themes, contradictory perspectives, and topics requiring more inquiry. Examining relevant literature studies actually helps researchers, no, to pinpoint deficiencies or inadequacies, no, in current understanding. And this important insight is crucial for defining research aims and formulating hypotheses, since it enables researchers to identify areas their work can have a significant impact on the field. Summarizing current literature, no, enables researchers to expand on prior study instead of starting from scratch. Researchers can maintain continuity with existing knowledge and ensure the research is situated, no, within the current scholarly discourse by acknowledging and embracing early results and hypotheses. A comprehensive examination of a relevant literature and studies offers researchers a basis for developing theoretical frameworks and methodological techniques. Researchers can improve the quality of their study by analyzing how past studies, no, have approached comparable research topics, allowing them to strengthen the rigor of their research design and methods while addressing any limits. The process of examining relevant literature studies includes accurately documenting and citing sources. And this showcases academic integrity and allows readers not to go into the original publication cited, aiding in the deeper comprehension and confirmation of the research results. So doing a thorough evaluation of relevant literature studies is an essential phase in the research process. Again, it allows researchers to expand on existing knowledge. You can able to pinpoint research deficiencies. You can enhance research goals and methods and make significant contributions to your field of study. So, in doing an extensive literature review, researchers may position their work within the wider academic conversation, guaranteeing its relevance, syempre, trustworthiness, and thoroughness. So I think that's it for module number 5.